Hi everyone, I'm Anita.
And I'm Daniel.
Welcome back to another episode of Learn With Trade Lenda, where we break down real challenges SMEs face every day.
Last week, we talked about why fixing your business structure isn't enough and why consistency is what builds credibility.
But today, we're shifting the conversation because sometimes it's not your strategy, it's your decisions.
The small, everyday decisions that quietly determine whether your business grows or struggles.
And to help us unpack this, we have someone who has seen businesses from a very unique perspective. Our CEO, Adeshina Adewumi.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you for joining us today. Let's start here. What are some decisions business owners make that seem small but end up having serious consequences?
One of the biggest is choosing comfort over discipline. A lot of business owners know what they should do.
Can you give an example?
Simple things such as not tracking your daily sales, ignoring feedbacks from your customers, ignoring expenses, understanding what your current revenue is versus what your expenses are, or avoiding difficult conversations. Difficult conversations can be with your internal team, can be with your external stakeholders, can even be from just simply taking feedback from your customers. Delaying important actions. A lot of people are always sentimental about making tough calls and tough decisions. These don't feel like big decisions, but they all add up in making your business successful or not.
So it's not always one big mistake?
Exactly, that's correct. These, decisions when lingered, there's this saying that inaction is the same as inefficient actions. So at the end of the day, it leads to failure because inactions and poor actions are all classified as the same.
What's one decision you think business owners underestimate the most?
Exactly. Most businesses don't fail overnight. They fail because of repeated small indecisions and ineffective decisions. Now, what I mean indecision is the same thing as inactions, right? When you don't take those decisions when you ought to, you are also preparing to fail. So you need to be able to make efficient, repeated, small decisions, incrementally, where you're able to evaluate the outcome of every decision rather than taking, inactions, or not even making the decision at all.
What's the difference?
Not being intentional. A lot of people run businesses, but they are reacting, not deciding. Part of what small business owners sometimes fail to do is ability to think 360 degrees. When you're making a decision or you're trying to put in a new policy, you must ask yourself, what could go wrong? What could go right? How will I get feedback? How will I know whether it's working or not? You can't wait till the end of the day. So let me say, for example, you want to wait to track your weekly goals. How can you track every hour? How can you track every day rather than waiting for the end of the week or the end of the month? Can you break it down so that you can actually have informed decisions that can ensure that you actually achieve your set goals?
Let's make this practical. Two business owners. One is busy every day, always working but not tracking anything, not planning, and just reacting.
The other is more structured, tracks progress, and reviews decisions. Who grows faster?
Oftentimes, for example, at Trade Lenda, people ask us, how do you manage default and collections? My response is, oftentimes is we are always proactive rather than being reactive. When you are reactive, you move based on pressure. When you are intentional, you move based on clarity. And that difference shows in the outcome and the results that comes from every decision that was taken because you were proactive.
So what decisions should business owners start paying attention to?
The one making intentional decisions, not the business, the most deliberate.
So growth isn't just about effort.
Start with this. Again, this is not limited or not exhaustive, but you can decide to start tracking your numbers consistently. Break it down into daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, rather than waiting for the year end or waiting for the month to track your numbers. Decide to face problem early, not later. As problems comes, problems are stepping stones for you to get into the next level. A student who does not pass an exam is not or has not shown capacity to move on to the next class. So that is also how it is in business. If you've not moved and showed that ability to manage #1 million, you've not actually, or you would never be able to move to 10 million. And if you've not shown capacity for 10 million, you can't move to 100. That is the way business goes. It's just the principles of life. The third is decide to be disciplined even when it's not convenient. You wake up early, you wake up for that meeting, you show up even when it's not convenient, even when it doesn't make sense. You keep showing up, Decide to plan, not just react. Have a 360-degree view of all that could go wrong and all that needs to be anticipated to make sure that your decision is actually the right one. And the last but not the least is actually deciding to build systems. Oftentimes businesses start with several structures, just being innovative and getting or stumbling into results. You need to be able to understand that those results will only be sustained when you have systems. It's not a hustle. You need to move away from just being self-employed. If your business can't work without you, then you are just having this self-employed engagement. You need to build systems so that business moves away from just an hustle, just a gig, to actually building wealth and also creating sustainable jobs for your community and the world at large.
Last week, we said, be consistent. This week, we're saying, be intentional.
Because your business doesn't just reflect your hard work. See you next Wednesday.